Okay, so this is day 12. It's essentially the third video I recorded for today. And the last two, they've been kind of centered around ideas. And for this one, I think I might want to recap to one of the projects that I actually started and explained, which is not the software that I'm talking about, but rather where I want to study. So I think I've mentioned I'm currently doing molecular biotechnology in Munich. Now, the thing is, it doesn't pay well. And I was able to talk to some people who are doing something very similar to what I do, or like what I want to do, correction on that one. And they all have one thing in common, medicine. So they all did medicine. And here's the thing. I want to go into the biomedical sphere. And this is a field where you cannot be like tech founders, where you can say, well, I want to drop out and study the stuff myself. Because a lot of the things that you might want to do for biotech is rooted in lab work. And you need to be able to go to a lab with certain qualifications and say, hey, I want to work on that. Now, for bioinformatics, that might be true because, again, it's kind of like tech, but for biology data sets. That's a different story. But for stem cell research, which I did explain in day three also, you need a lab and you need lab access and you need people who you can work with. So that takes a certification and try to aim for the best one with the most prestige. Why should people tell you that certain prestige is actually just running around institutions because you don't know what to do with life? That's partially true for life sciences. This doesn't really count because, again, my point with tech is, and for business, you can go and study and learn it. Like the thing is, I'm not a business person, but I've worked with startups before, four actually, and I've learned a great deal. But that was because I had basic skills to join them. I don't need a business degree to join a startup. You need certain passion for it and kind of like a screwed time schedule. But apart from that, you're good to go. For biotech, you have to have certain requirements and you need to fulfill them. So medicine is essentially a pathway that has always opportunities that even most PhD students might not have. So it took me 3 months to realize that. But in the end, I came to to the conclusion. Now I was thinking where to do it. Because even though I had really good high school grades, there is a thing, and I think in the Western world, which is called grade inflation. So essentially, you are giving too many students too many good grades, so you are de-evaluating the value of a good grade, which is, by the way, also happening at Ivy Leagues. I didn't know that before I searched it up. So you can see this phenomenon essentially everywhere. And, I don't need to be in Germany for a medicine degree because they're also losing track in terms of research funding and money. So they are essentially kind of broke, right? They even fell out of the top 10 in foundational research. And then, China sounds really nice, actually. And the tuition and the rooms, it's way cheaper than to go and live in Berlin or Munich for 1 year. Way cheaper. Because you get on-campus living, which you don't have in Germany, by the way. You need to care for your own housing situation. Food is incredibly cheap and healthy. Again, sometimes you have cafeterias at certain universities where you just can't eat, actually. I won't elaborate why. And then you also have, because you're on campus, you're not losing time on personal traveling. Because I can tell you, you've probably heard certain news about the German train and the infrastructure. whatever you heard is probably true in a negative sense. Trains are not arriving. A lot of random constructions on your way. You are losing up to 3 hours a day just going back and forth. So obviously, if you eliminate that need, then you're winning time. And I only need to pass a test and see where this goes. Actually, I'm really thinking of doing the test and seeing whether I can get into these universities. Because if I do, I won't, I don't think I'll say no. Actually, the only expensive thing is like traveling to the university. But again, you will see this is kind of like a thing which I'll see whether it has worked or not in 6 months. Not now. But I thought, I might give you an update, which I did. So thank you again for listening and see you tomorrow.